Defamation under law taught. The very definition and meaning of defamation, as according to Dr. Winfield, it is the publication of a statement which tends to lower a person in the estimation of right thinking members of society, generally make them shun or avoid the person. Defamation is an injury to the reputation of a person. If a person injures the reputation of another, he does it at own risk. It is publication of something concerning a person, of a statement in words or in writing or by pictures or by significant gestures, which exposes such person to feeling of hatred, ridicule, or contempt, whereby he suffers injury to his reputation. So it consists language or representation, either oral or written or picture or any sign of effigy. Defamation is of two types. One is libel and the second one is slander. So, libel, name given to defamatory statements or representations in writing or otherwise recorded by printing or typing or lithography or pictures or photography or cinema, film, caricature, statue, effigy, model, or any other physical symbols like fixing of gallows in front of a person's house. Slander denotes defamatory statements or representation which are expressed by speech or by a nod or by a shake of head or smile or hissing or the finger language of deaf and dumb. So, regarding libel, we will discuss the publication of a false and defamatory statement in some permanent form of tending to injure the reputation of another person without lawful justification or excuse. So, in that connection, we will discuss about a picture, Rasputin the Old Monk, and here Princess Irina of Russia challenged M.G.M. Pictures, her being seduced by the monk. So it is generally suggested that libel is addressed to I, but the very production of a speech by a gramophone record or a talking cinema or film also constitutes the publication of a libel, while slander, a false and defamatory verbal or oral statement in transitory forms intending to injure the reputation of another without lawful justification or excuse. In slander, therefore, defamatory statement is made in spoken words or in some other transitory form, whether visible or audible, such as gesture. The representation may be expressed either by speech or its equivalent such as nod, a wink, a shake of head, a smile, or hissing, uttering words for gramophone recording is also slander. So, now we'll discuss about the distinctions between libel and slander. So, the very distinction between libel and slander in England they are treated differently both by criminal law and law of torts, but both are governed by the same principles. They have some differences such as libel is the defamatory matter in while slander is the oral defamation. So libel is a written kind of defamation and slander is an oral defamation. In libel, the defamatory matter is in some permanent form, whereas in slander, defamation is in some significant gesture. And regarding the second one, libel is both civil and criminal, while slander is only civil. So libel is both a civil wrong and criminal offense. Slander is a civil wrong only. Spoken words sometimes fall within the criminal law. They are seditious or offense amount to solicitation to commit crime or a contempt of court. In India, slander is both a tort and a crime. And the third one, libel, is actionable per se, while slander is actionable with certain exceptions. Under law of tort, slander is actionable save in exceptional cases only on proof of special damage, while libel is always actionable per se without the proof of any damage. And the fourth one is libel is always with malice, while slander is of with sudden provocation. So libel shows greater deliberation and raises a suggestion of malice, while a slander uttered in the heat of the moment and under sudden provocation. And the fifth one is in libel, the act may be unconsciously done, and in slander, this is done consciously. So, the actual publisher may be an innocent person and not liable, whereas in every case of slander, the publisher acts consciously and voluntarily and must necessarily be guilty. And now we'll go to the sixth one. The very limitation of actions under libel and slander, as we found under English law and Indian law. So, in England, under the statute of limitation, an action of libel is up to 6 months and of slander is 2 years. But in India, the period of limitation for both is 1 year. And the seventh or the last one, and that is liability as an offense under the criminal law in England and in India. So, under criminal law, Only libel has been recognized as an offense, while slander is of no offense. And in our next video, we will discuss regarding the very conditions of liability for defamation.